Yo, what's up, guys? We're back with another video today, and guys, in 2025, we are going to see a lot of fan favorite fighters retiring soon. Guys like Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, I feel like, Israel Adesanya, if he loses one more time, and potentially Alex Pereira as well, because, at this rate, by how many fights he has, he might retire, this year. And so I thought I'd give my thoughts on some of these fighters who I think are going to retire this year. It wasn't originally supposed to be this type of video. I was going to just, include fighters that will miss or fighters that I miss, but I kind of made it like this, so I hope you guys enjoy. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, now the first fighter we have on here is Dustin Poirier. Now, with Dustin Poirier, right? Alright, here's the thing with Dustin Poirier, right? Every fight that this guy has is an absolute banger, right? I'm gonna say, I don't think that's a hot take to say at all, And honestly, the biggest thing that I'm gonna miss from Dustin Poirier is him just, hitting on Michael Chandler till, the end of the days, honestly. He'll probably do it even when he retires, but still. I feel like people, though, will appreciate Poirier retiring, And I feel like people are already going to miss him when he retires because everybody loves Dustin Poirier, right? How can you not like this dude, to be honest? He really is exciting, entertaining. He is a little bit of a sore winner. I won't lie. And that is a valid criticism. But, this dude has some of the best fights ever in the UFC. And also, when is this dude going to announce his opponent? I really hope it's not Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway for a third time now. I don't want to see that, honestly. Alright, next person we have on this list is Alex Pereira. Now, is this a little bit early to call that Alex Pereira is going to retire this year? Yes, but I feel like this is a possibility of him retiring this year. I mean, for one, he lost to Ankalaev, so he's no longer the champion of the division anymore. If he beats Ankalaev in the rematch, I don't think he'll retire this year, but if he loses again to Ankalaev, I think the chances of him retiring are a lot more likely. And honestly, I think that, one of the reasons people are going to miss him is just the fact that he fought so often. He literally carried the UFC like Atlas carrying the earth. It's actually so insane how badly he carried the UFC. I swear to God that this is not me glazing, honestly. I'm not trying to glaze him. I feel like that if Alex Pereira was not in the UFC in 2024, don't get me wrong, there would have been some exciting moments like Max Holloway KOing Justin Gaethje, Poirier KOing, there would have been other guys, definitely Poirier would have been looked at as the guy carrying the UFC, but it would have been a much rougher year without Alex Pereira, because so many iconic moments happened from that year because of Alex Pereira. Alright, now another person we have, maybe controversial of a guy we'll miss, Anthony Smith. Okay. Now, hear me out on this one. It has nothing to do with his fighting style, if it's boring or exciting or anything like that. It's the fact that he is so delusional. This guy is one of the most delusional fighters I have ever seen, and it's actually so entertaining to watch. Watching him, saying that he could beat Alex Pereira in a fight, or him saying, John Jones is not that good, is some of the most insanely delusional take I have ever seen. But at the same time, it's actually so funny because he's dead ass honest. He's not trolling or anything like that. And I find it's actually low key funny. And honestly, I'm low key an Anthony Smith fan. I'm going to be sad when he retires in this fight. And I'm hoping he wins against Mian Zhang in his next fight. And okay, real talk though. It was low key a bit sad of how his last fight went against Dominic Reyes. He really did just give up. He seems to be in a really rough spot right now, especially with his friend dying. It's really rough for him, and I do feel bad for him. And I really do hope he wins in his next fight. Alright, now the next person we have here is Kamaru Usman. Now, my reasonings for this is, for one, I think that he has to fight this year. I feel like he can't go this year without fighting. He needs to fight this year. Otherwise, I think he's done. If he doesn't fight this year, I think that he's not returning, to be honest, because he's almost 39 years old. He's getting up there in age. It's actually ridiculous. His knees are not getting better. I've said this so many times. It's like me reading a book over and over again. I've said this so many times, but with Usman, right? And even if Usman does return this year, And if he loses one more time, it's like, yeah, it's not gonna really go well for him. Another reason why I think he'll be missed is, like, let's be honest, like, okay, as much as I am a Bilal fan, I like Bilal, and I was extremely happy when he beat Leon Edwards, because I don't like Leon Edwards that much. I can't deny that the Usman reign was literally the best thing that division ever saw since probably, I would say, the Robbie Lawler era. Like, honestly, like, the Tyron Woodley era, I did not like at all. That was, like, honestly, the lowest point in that division I can remember. Like, rewatching UFC welterweight history, because I obviously didn't see the whole thing from the start, but, like, watching the history of, like, the welterweight division, it was really just in decline when Tyron Woodley was the champion, compared to the Robbie Lawler, who had, like, some of the 2 best fights ever against Rory McDonald and Carlos Condit. No one talks about Carlos Condit versus Robbie Lawler. That was an amazing fight. Nobody talks about that one. And then when Usman beat Tyron Woodley, at the start, it was a little bit boring, like, especially when he beat Woodley. That was a very boring fight. As well with the Masvidal one, that was boring. But then it really started to get better when he beat Gilbert Burns, and then when he KO'd Jorge Masvidal and had an amazing war against Colby Covington. That was the peak of that division, honestly. And even though I will say it again, I do like Bilal Muhammad, I can't deny that I don't think that Bilal Muhammad's reign is going to be nowhere near as good and entertaining as Usman was. Alright, now the next person we have on here is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Honestly, this guy is literally one of the nicest people in the UFC roster. He's a dying breed of genuinely good human beings in the UFC roster. You have guys like John Jones, Bryce Mitchell, Sean Strickland, Colby Covington, guys who are just mean and rude. That's honestly the common trait nowadays, I feel, when you have guys trash talking and all that stuff, disrespecting their heritage. And then you have Wonderboy, who's like the nicest person. He's just a normal dude. He's just a chill, friendly guy, honestly. He's honestly Nick A30 if you put him in the UFC. That's literally what Wonderboy is. And honestly, my dream coach, honestly, a guy who I would 100% have in my corner would be Wonderboy, because Wonderboy would genuinely give you advice and would just be not a dick. You know what I'm saying? And the craziest part about Wonderboy is that this dude is in his 40s and he's still putting on very exciting fights. Even though he got KO'd against Joaquin Buckley, rest in peace, Wonderboy. That was honestly a really good fight. I don't feel like people talk about that fight as much. It was actually a really good fight. And then the fight with Kevin Holland, obviously that's pretty memorable. That was a really good war between those two, and it was a great performance showing Wonderboy that Unk still got it in him. So it was pretty good from Wonderboy, man. And honestly, I don't know when this dude's gonna retire. Honestly, he's still doing really good at like 40 plus years of age. He's still kicking it. But to be honest, I think that if he loses a couple more times, I feel like he's going to low-key retire. And I have a weird feeling it might be this year as well. Maybe 2026, but we'll see what goes on with like who he fights and all that stuff. Because honestly, a big criticism I will say about Wonderboy is that this dude fights like once a year now. I don't know if it's about the medical issues, if he has injuries or not, but this dude literally fights once a year now. Come on now. Alright, now, the next person we have on here is Israel Adesanya. Maybe a little bit of another hot take because people don't like him or not. I think that people who hate him and like him, they will still watch his fights because he is pretty exciting. And if you hate him, you want to watch his fights so you can see him get knocked out like he has been in his last couple fights. It's been pretty rough for him. And honestly, I low-key think that if he fights one more time this year and he loses, which I do think is going to happen, I don't think he beats any of the top contenders now. I think he loses to Robert Whittaker now, because Robert Whittaker is still at the top of his game, in my opinion. He's just losing to really good guys. He would beat Adesanya. I think that pretty much most of the guys in like the top 5 would beat Adesanya, to be straight up honest with you. It's rough for Adesanya now, and I think that he is going to retire this year. And it's going to be sad because, Adesanya literally saved that middleweight division. Listen, he had boring fights. 100% he had boring fights. The Yoel Romero one, the Robert Whittaker rematch, the Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier. Don't even get me started with that one. That one was an appalling fight right there. He's had very boring fights, but the thing is, He literally brought the middleweight division back from like a dying bed. Before he got to the division, middleweight was honestly low-key so boring. It was in a chaotic position. Middleweight was like where light heavyweight was before Alex Pereira was the champion. Because after Anderson Silva left the belt, it was in chaotic mess. You had Michael Bisping, Chris Weidman, Luke Rockhold, Robert Whittaker as an interim champion for I think like a year now. And then you had Robert Whittaker as a champion and he never defended it. You know, it was crazy, the middleweight division, and Adesanya comes in, and he brings order into that middleweight division, and now that he's losing, even though he's losing, the middleweight division is low-key a lot better, to be honest, than where it was, and even when he was the champion, honestly. Him losing in his last couple fights, in my opinion, is actually a good thing, because it means that there are guys who can actually beat Adesanya. And that's a good thing in my opinion, because now we have guys who are just like really good fighters now. Khamzat Chimaev, DDP, Caio Borrado. You know, there's a lot good prospects coming up in middleweight now. Alright, now the final person we have on here is Justin Gaethje. Now, honestly, I don't know what's going to happen with Justin Gaethje now, whether he's going to get a title shot now. I swear to God, if he gets a title shot, I'm actually going to crash out. I have a weird feeling they're going to do it. They're going to do some bullshit manipulating thing, allowing him to get a title shot. It's going to be like Dustin Poirier all over again. He loses worse than Dustin Poirier did against Islam, in my opinion. And to be honest, I don't know. I'm very surprised that he's still fighting. I thought he was going to retire after he got KO'd by Max, but he's still fighting, which surprises me still. If he loses one more time, I think he's 100% going to retire. I 100% think if he loses one more fight, which I do think is very likely, especially if he fights Islam, he is going to retire. Because, like, at that point, he'll be 0-3 against championship fights, and there's nothing left for him to do, honestly. But, guys, that is me covering UFC fighters who will be missed in the coming couple of years. Let me know who you guys think will be missed and who are going to retire soon. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!